Hi everybody.
Hi everybody.
It's a dog. She knows where to be now. Hi.
Yeah.
So we're recording a video about a movie we watched that came out this year. Spoilers. Called Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. It stars Andy Samberg and
stars Adam Sandler and Vera Farmiga. No, neither of those are the right people.
No, it stars other people that will definitely put. So the premise of the story is that it's a Palm Springs wedding, and Andy Samberg is in the wedding.
Yeah, he's the boyfriend of some friend or some bridesmaid.
A bridesmaid's boyfriend,
exactly. And he's kind of a ne'er-do-well or just like a schlub,
yeah.
And he wakes up and it's the day of the wedding and all kinds of crazy stuff starts happening. Right. And as I said, spoilers.
Spoilers, because you can't describe it without spoilers.
It's one of those infinite time loops you may have heard about.
Ooh.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
That I might have heard about.
So it's a Groundhog Day type of situation.
Yes. But with many twists. And you'd think we've seen a lot of Groundhog Day type movies, but I feel like this one...
I feel like every day
feels
we watch
fresh.
a Groundhog Day.
This feels fresh.
Yeah.
This feels fresh. First, because there's two people.
Yeah.
So...
Well, there's three.
There's three people,
but
as we learned. Yeah.
I mean, mainly there's
two main characters.
Yeah.
So this guy is stuck in the infinite time loop, and he pulls in the lady, the romantic interest.
Against his by accident. He warns her not to come in the magical cave.
Yeah.
But she comes in anyway.
To try and help him.
Because he's being shot with an arrow by J.K. Simmons. He also pulled into the time loop by accident.
Well, that one was on purpose.
Or because he was on drugs. The dialogue is very just fun and
it's very fun
and silly and in Andy Samberg's style.
Yes.
I don't know. We love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That was such a fun show.
Yeah,
and it's a feel-good show.
Andy Samberg
Good cast.
basically acts like himself, but it works. He also chooses movies where that's who you want to see the story of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very self-deprecating, very kind of just wincing at his own misfortune constantly.
And it's a really good balance between like really funny, a little bit of like shock. I was gonna say horror, but it's more like shock.
sort of surreal or other
surrealism, yes,
non sequiturs.
Seriousness, yeah.
By the way, Cristin, whatever her name. Hi,
Cristin Milioti.
Hello. This one is so sweet.
Hi.
She's here. She's like, I watched the movie too. I was afraid of it. I don't understand television. It's a scary thing to me. Sometimes when people are talking, I think that.
Look at this one.
Or sometimes when the television is playing, I think people are talking. I don't know what's happening. I want to be involved. It's all about me, as I've long suspected. Okay, so from a relationship standpoint, because we wanted to talk a little bit about like relationship and like what gives us hope or what helps us.
Yes.
So this is like a particularly good rom-com, particularly entertaining and like ends on a very like happy note. Like it feels to me at least felt pretty satisfying.
Feels pretty positive and also realistic.
Like earned, like they seem to have earned the movie.
Where they get
what
to.
Am I saying? They've earned the ending. They've earned a happy ending.
They earned it.
Hey, we moved. It's later in the day. Yeah, we had to go do beach stuff on the beach.
Insert clips here.
Yeah.
We kind of forget we live 10 minutes from an amazing beach. This is so good.
And an ATV ride, which is just bonkers. Okay, what things do we think are good, like things to take away in your relationship, and what things are like not so good to take away?
Okay, I like that.
Maybe, I don't know.
So, one thing that was not good to take away.
The main issue.
Kind of a lot of bad things, but a lot of good things. So one of the main issues is just like keeping secrets or like just dishonesty or lies of omission also.
Don't do it.
So
don't be
there was a huge thing that this chick was keeping back, even as they like were going through this completely unique experience together. She still wasn't. I mean, because of shame, because she did something bad.
Yeah.
And that'll like rot a relationship from the inside.
Well, and his was even worse in my book. Like, the fact that he said, like...
Yes, that's true.
So, as we said, spoilers before.
Spoilers.
So what was she doing?
She was sleeping with her sister's, like, fiance, or, like, the guy who was getting married and dating him.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty when you break it down.
Shitty, yeah.
And okay, in the time loop, before she was caught in the time loop with him, Andy Samberg, they had sex a bunch of times, like they'd hooked up, but he lied to her.
When she comes into the time loop, he says,
we've never hooked up before.
Yeah.
So, because he didn't want to admit that, like, basically he just, like, slept with her on just after one day of knowing her for a million times. It's also funny how he's been stuck in this loop for a long ass time. Like, he doesn't even remember what his job was.
Yeah. We never find out. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. We find out very little about them outside of their...
Yeah.
Especially him. Like, I almost thought... We knew so little about him that I almost thought it was going to be the type of thing where he was, like, some... mischief being that only lived in this time loop. Like, he's like, I can't leave.
I would have thought that too.
I've been stuck here since the Middle Ages or something, you know?
I mean, and I think that's the thing, like, even in this very limited, like, existence, like, their lies come back to bite them. And how much more so in normal life.
Like, real life.
Don't lie. Just don't lie.
Don't lie,
it's
man.
Too much effort.
You can't lie. You can't go around and be lying.
Okay, what else was...
significant to your one and only, man.
In general.
But just in general. The one thing I really liked was he was like, or she asked, like, when they're finally kind of repairing their relationship towards the end, when they're trying to figure out how to get out of the loop, she was like, what if we get tired of each other? And he's like, we are tired of each other. It's great.
Yeah.
Like, there was something about that was a good line. It was just like that. I think people worry about that in relationships that one day it won't have the flair or the spark that, you know, a new relationship. But if you've been in a relationship for a long time, like, you realize there's nothing to lose. Like, there's always, like, more excitement. Like, life has no shortage of, like, exciting and new events.
The interesting thing is, like, there's a duality. Like, one, there's always excitement, there's always, like, new things.
Like, I've never been tired of you once.
Exactly. But at the same time, his original point is we're already tired of each other. And that is so comfortable and good also.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even if we're doing the same boring thing over and over again, that would still be, like, dope.
Yeah.
But also, get you the kind of person that you can actually continue to have exciting conversations with.
Yeah, it's the thing of, like, finding someone that you can just be comfortable with and just, like, live life, and that in and of itself is like, thrilling. You know?
I would say if you're scared, you're like, what if, you know, we get bored of each other, then don't be scared. But if you're already bored of each other and you genuinely feel like this person is boring, just end that relationship.
Yeah, that's already right.
Because I've never felt that way about you, so it's a warning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We talk a lot about red flags in this life, but green flags are like someone who you can just become. She is a red flag. She's a whole red flag. Someone a green flag is like someone who you can just like sit and like be bored and not do anything, and it still feels very nice to be in this
and quarantine should have taught you that.
Hey, man, I'm preaching to the choir here, I'm sure. Like, jeez, it's nuts, dude.
Also, I liked what she said that she was married for 2 years previously.
Yeah.
And she knew, like, walking down the aisle, it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've heard a lot of that from other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for many reasons, like not wanting to be alone, like family pressure, like whatever, they just go through with it. Yeah. And it's just be kind to yourself.
Yeah, like, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And I think like there's something so interesting about relationships where like you don't know and you do know, right? Like if you genuinely don't know how you feel about something, then that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, you're going to maybe learn. Yes. Like, so you can have that experience where you know it's not going to work right from day one, but you try to force it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens. And sometimes, like, it's not so or, like, in my case, I feel like I did feel like it was going to work. From the beginning, I was like, okay. Like, I feel like we just sort of, like, fell into two peas in a pod. Fell into one pod as two peas. Well, the peas come out of... You get it.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
completely agree.
But even if you don't, I mean, I imagine it's like I think we read too much into these little like signs, like these little
Yeah.
indicators of like a relationship must be hard, or a relationship must be,
No.
or a relationship has to have XYZ feeling.
Yeah.
And like I think all of that we tend to be too caught up in, like not, and it distracts us from what the
is
real
happening.
experience is.
Yeah.
Like what I really liked about that time loop thing in that movie was like they were figuring out what did and didn't feel good, that even though they could do anything, like even though ultimately like if they died or whatever,
Everything that we are doing is meaningless.
I hope it's not all meaningless.
or murdered someone or went crazy or did something crazy, like they still came up against like sometimes it just didn't feel good. Like they made the point that even though everything resets, like they still have to live with what they've done.
That's a good point.
And there was like a sense of people growing and becoming more like comfortable, like, or more like understanding who they were and what they actually valued.
In hindsight, like I feel like Bill Murray did not grow.
Yeah.
In Groundhog Day.
Bill Murray, you know what's so interesting? I was actually just thinking about this. Groundhog Day was the first half of this movie. Like this movie did the Groundhog Day premise all the way up to the point where they fell in love, and that was just Act 1.
Yeah.
Like in a very real sense. Like they had all the goofy interactions.
Yeah.
And then falling in love, like in Groundhog Day, I think, also spoilers for another great movie that you should watch. I think falling in love was like the thing that helped him break out of the cycle, right?
Yeah.
But in this, that wasn't what broke them out.
No.
But it was an important like stage along the journey, which is kind of like challenging the happily ever after mythos that like once you like boom, you're together, everything is fine. Like no, like that's just the beginning. Like journeys begin where lovers meet, you know?
I was gonna make fun of Mythos, but then you said something real cute. So.
You can still make fun of Mythos. I don't even know what that means.
Okay, what's our concluding thoughts or something?
I don't know. Be kind to each other.
Be kind.
Be confused
rewind.
and excited. Be kind. Rewind.
Check the movie out and let us know if you agree with
the future is not written.
premise.
It is what you make.